Thank you very much, Madam President. Madam President, nice to see you on the... Yes, session resumed already, right, Madam President?
Yes, session is resumed.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that we adjourn session. I so move, Mr. President. Madam President.
Any objections? I don't see the minority here, only the majority. No objections heard. Session is adjourned.
Thank you very much, Madam President.
Eto na mga boss, kakapasok lang na balita. Grabe, Senate President Tito Soto pinalitan. Isa-isang nag-alisa ng mga senador. Tinuro kung sinong traidor, lahat ng Duterte tumakas. Base sa impormasyong kumakalat ngayon sa social media, sobrang napahiya ang grupo ng Duterte Black sa Senado matapos silang ilaglag ni Senator Loren Legarda. Akala kasi nila mapapalitan nila sa Senate President si Tito Soto na isang SP na maka-Duterte dapat. Alam kasi nilang aabot ang impeachment ni Vice President BP Sara sa Senado. Gusto ng paghandaan ng Duterte ang trial. Sigurado na kasing makukulong ang ilan sa mga DDS na senador. Kukulangin sila sa boto pag nagsimula ng impeachment trial. Malabo kasing ibasura din ng Kamara ang ipapile na impeachment kay BP Sara sa Kongreso. Alam na wala sila dong kakampi. Delikado si BP Sara sa trial. Kaya ito sabay-sabay nating panoorin ng mga congressman na magtatanong din kay BP Sara sa Kongreso dahilan kung bakit ang mga DDS na senador takot na takot. Alam na hindi ibabasura ang impeachment, di kagaya kay PBBM, wala silang hawak na ebidensya. Pero bago tayo magpatuloy, baka pwedeng i-click nyo muna ang like, share, comment, subscribe at i-hit nyo na rin ang notification bell kung gusto nyo ng mga ganitong klase ng video para laging updated kayo sa mga susunod pa nating ibabalita. Kaya tara, panoorin na natin to.
We will move to the next speaker, the Honorable Chua.
Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, nandito pa lamang po tayo sa second act of betrayal of public trust, abuse of discretionary power over unprogrammed appropriation. At kanina nga po, nabanggit na ito pong charge ay matatagpuan po sa page 23, paragraph 96. Sabi po dito, Respondent President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos betrayed public trust by abusing his constitutional and statutory discretion to solely authorize the release of unprogrammed appropriation. Pero nakaligay po dito at maliwanag na ito po ay kanyang constitutional at statutory discretion. The word discretion itself ay maliwanag, hindi po ito mandatory. Ibig sabihin, hindi po niya ito kailangan gawin. Ito po ay nasa kanya pong discretion. At maliwanag po dito, paano po ang sinasabi po dito sa ating rules. Sabi dito, the requirement of substance is met if there is a recital of facts constituting the offense charge. Asan po ang offense dito kung ito po ay kanyang constitutional duty? Pangalawa, Madam Chair, sinasabi po ng ating esteemed colleague ang kanila pong basis dahil po sa ang binanggit po nilang decision ng Korte Suprema ay yung pong decision patungkol po sa PhilHealth. Pero kung titignan po ninyo dito, ito po ay sinasabi po dito sa matatagpuan sa page 24, paragraph 102, the court ruled that the executive branch act of diverting 89.9 billion from PhilHealth to fund this unprogrammed item constituted grave abuse of discretion. Pero ito po ay patungkol sa PhilHealth Fund, hindi po doon sa kabuang unappropriated unprogrammed appropriations. In fact, ito pong issue sa unprogrammed appropriation ay hindi pa po ito nadidesisyonan ng Korte Suprema. Wala pa pong sinasabi ang Korte Suprema na ito'y illegal. So, paano po natin sasabihin na ito ay isang offense against the President? Na ang Presidente, basahin lamang po natin to, wala na po tayo makikitang offense. Pangalawa po, sinasabi po nila dito, to finance the systematic corruption scheme detailed in the first act of betrayal of public trust, so forth and so on, ito po ay purely speculative. Wala pong basis dito po na nakalagay sa second act of betrayal. Paano po ito nagamit to finance the systematic corruption? Kaya, Madam Chair, sa akin pong paniniwala, by mere determination of substance, dito pa lamang po, makikita po natin wala. Otherwise, kung sasabihin po natin na ito pong unprogrammed appropriation ay naabuso po ng presidente at sasabihin natin na hindi po applicable dito yung sinasabi pong doctrine of operative fact, edi sana po nakasuhan na rin po yung dating presidente nung dineklara ng korte na yung DAP ay illegal and unconstitutional. At kagaya po na nabanggit kahapon, ito pong unprogrammed appropriation, lahat po ng administrasyon as far back as 1989, pagkatapos po ng EDSA Revolution, lahat ng administrasyon, lahat ang gobyerno, taon-taon, since 1989 up to the present, lahat po ang administrasyon ay may unprogrammed appropriation. So short of saying, lahat ang naging presidente ay dapat nakasuhan din po natin. At hindi lang po ang presidente, lahat ang local chief executive, lahat ang governor, lahat ang mayor, meron din po silang lump sum appropriation. Kaya po, Madam Chair, ako po naniniwala, by mere perusal of the second act or the second ground for impeachment complaint, wala po, insufficient po ang substance. Yun lang po.
Thank you, Honorable Chua. Next in line is the Honorable Deputy Speaker Janet Garin.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you, distinguished colleagues. Madam Chair, let me dwell into the issue on betrayal of public trust. Kasi sang-ayon sa nakikita natin, ang nakasulat base dito sa complaint is that this is basically all about unprogrammed appropriations. May I request our colleagues to endorse this impeachment complaint? When we talk about unprogrammed appropriations, saan na mga ahensya ito dumadaan and who are the final determinants of the approval and listing of such, including prioritization?
Deputy Speaker Garin wishes to raise a question.
Para sa General Appropriations Act, partikular ng 2023 at 2024 na binabanggit dito sa complaint, ang sinasabi po doon ay ang paggamit ng unprogrammed appropriations ay magiging alinsunod sa Section 35, Chapter 5, Book 6 ng Administrative Code. So may explicit reference po sa special provision ng unprogrammed appropriations dito sa provision na ito. At ang sinasabi po ron na expenditures from lump sum appropriations, so ibig sabihin, sa GAA mismo, sinasabi na ang unprogrammed appropriations ay isang tipo ng lump sum appropriation na covered ng provision na ito. At ang sabi ay expenditures from lump sum appropriations authorized for any purpose or for any department, office, or agency in any annual General Appropriations Act shall be made in accordance with a special budget to be approved by the President. So yun po yung proseso na tinatakda. So kung meron pong
Madam Chair, if I may,
purpose sa unprogrammed appropriations, kailangan
Please
gumawa.
let the Honorable Tino finish his
Kailangan
answer.
gumawa ang kinauukulang ahensya na covered nung purpose na yon, authorized, ay nagumawa ng special budget at ito ay isusumiti sa presidente para sa kanyang approval. At sa approval lamang ng presidente, maaaring gastusin ang unprogrammed appropriations. So, presidente po ang may sole and exclusive na kapangyarihan at discretion kung ano ang maaari at hindi maaaring paggamitan ng unprogrammed appropriations.
Madam Chair,
The
let me
Honorable
go back
Diaz-Guerin.
to the answers of the Honorable Tino. Balikan po natin. While it is true that you cited a provision in the General Appropriations Act, at ang pagkakaintindi mo ay it's the sole prerogative of the President, let us look at the actual process. That's why I was trying to interrupt earlier, and apologies for that. Balikan natin. Unang-una, saan ba nanggagaling yung paglista ng unprogrammed appropriations? If the good sponsor can directly answer the specific agency or the specific agencies.
Honorable Tino.
Yung step 1.
Depende po sa purposes na nakasaad sa unprogrammed appropriations. Kung gusto nyo po, pwede nating tignan
Yeah.
ang
With due
mga
courtesy to
special
the Honorable
provisions.
Tino, if I may,
At
balik
kung-
tayo dun sa
tutuloy ko lang
proseso.
po, at kung ang purpose na tinutukoy katulad sa 2024 ay yung tinatawag na CPAG, which covers infrastructure programs.
Yeah. Madam Chair,
dadaan po,
with
at
due courtesy,
DPWH
please
po ang
allow Honorable
magpe-prepare.
Tino to finish the answer.
DPWH po, ang secretary ng DPWH ang magpe-prepare ng special budget.
Okay. Madam Chair, if I may, with due
Honorable
courtesy
Green.
to my colleague, can we answer direct to the point? Kasi gusto kong i-establish yung proseso so that I can be guided on whether there is, so it is sufficient in substance or not. Let's go back to the process. Ang tanungan natin, where does it emanate? And if I get it correctly from your answer, it emanates from the department. Is that right, Madam Chair?
Honorable Tino.
That is correct.
Okay. So, ibig sabihin, itong listahan ng unprogrammed appropriations, lahat na ito ay nanggagaling sa kanya-kanyang departamento. Is that correct, Madam Chair?
Po.
After the department would pencil that in, saan po siya napupunta, Madam Chair?
Honorable Tino.
Madam Chair, dadaan ito sa DBM.
Okay. And in the process of going to the Department of Budget and Management, who defends that proposed list of unprogrammed appropriations, Madam Chair?
Honorable Tino.
Mas maganda, Madam Chair, na tanungin ang mga kinauukulan dito, pero sasagot ako batay sa aking nalalaman at
Point of order,
ang
Madam
proseso na
Chair.
ito.
Sorry,
There's a point of order.
Madam Chair.
SDML Lawrence Defensor is recognized.
Let's reinstate our original rule that the members will have their own manifestations. And if ever we find this to be sufficient in substance, then we can exchange interrogation. But at this point, let's go back to our earlier rule yesterday that we can say whatever we had to say and let our individual conscience assess whether the allegations in the recital of facts constitutes an impeachable offense. So we don't have to argue back and forth.
We allow the sponsors or the endorsers to answer so long as they want. And if the speakers or the members are not willing to consider the answers, then the speakers are advised to do their manifestation by way of a speech or straight manifestation instead of raising question.
Ma-
Would you like to answer?
Yes, Madam Speaker, and in consideration of the manifestation of the Honorable Senior Deputy Majority Leader, isang sagot na lang po. Basta malinaw po sa proseso na itinatakda ng batas na manggagaling sa departamento ang proposal for as long as authorized under the purposes of the unprogrammed appropriations for that year. Tapos, dadaan sa DBM. Pero ultimately, at ito po ang pinaka-importante, ang autorisasyon ng paggamit sa unprogrammed appropriations ay sa presidente. No? Ang ibig din sabihin nito, meron din siyang kapangyarihan, kung mayroon siyang kapangyarihang mag-authorize, meron din siyang kapangyarihang hindi mag-authorize. At yun po ang isang batayan na sinasabi natin kung bakit inabuso niya ang kapangyarihang ito. Kaya po, betrayal of public trust.
Madam Chair.
Honorable Garin.
Yeah. Thank you very much, distinguished colleague, for that response. The reason why I asked that is that I wanted to be clarified because based on the complaint, it stated and it appears, and especially during the initial answers of our distinguished sponsor, tila ang naipapalabas na ang presidente ang may diskresyon or may kapangyarihan at pumili kung ano ang mapopondohan. But contrary to what I am hearing now, based on the direct answers of our distinguished colleague, the unprogrammed appropriation starts with a proposal from each department, duly vetted by the DBM, defended by the proponent, and these are the cabinet secretaries or their alter egos who are the undersecretaries, and once approved, these are included in the NEP, the National Expenditure Program. After that, it is forwarded to Congress and Senate. Kung meron mang mga dinagdag, binawas at pinalitan, this is being done because of the budget deliberations that happens between the legislative bodies and the executive offices, meaning each department. Moving forward, Madam Chair, and just to manifest, sa pagkakaintindi ko in the budget process, once the General Appropriations Act is approved, there is a list of unprogrammed appropriations, meaning it will be funded once may pondo, may savings, or may loan. And as to my understanding, it is presumed that the Department of Budget and Management follows the chronology of prioritization set forth in the GAA as approved by Congress and Senate. After which, again, when there are funds that are available, this is being carved out from the approved GAA based on the prioritizations again. After which, it goes to the President for approval, which, on my understanding, Mr. Chair, is done by the technical finance people. While I agree that meddling in the unprogrammed appropriations, if indeed it is true, is wrong, I do not see the connection between the liability of the President and this allegation simply because, example, the mention of the statement, the unprogrammed appropriations mechanism was designed specifically to fund the discretionary priorities of leaders' allocations. This is a vague accusation that has been left unproven, and how will the President know, handling a very big country, know the individual request if indeed it is true? Next, Madam Chair, it can set a precedence for future actions because, again, the inaction of the President to approve or to sign the request of the DBM that was carved out from the prioritization as stated in the General Appropriations Act might be misconstrued as he is being remiss of his duty because that is expected to have passed through the proper channels considering that, again, prioritization and listing emanated from the end user, the department, duly vetted by several technical people, culminating before Congress and Senate and going back to the DBM for implementation. In other words, Madam Chair, much as I wanted to ask questions because I really wanted to be clarified, but with due courtesy to the manifestation of our good Senior Deputy Majority Leader, let me just state it clearly. Unang-una, sino ang nag-request? Ito yung iba-ibang mga departamento. Sino ang nagtatanong kung ito ba ay kailangan o hindi? The technical people of the Department of Budget and Management who are career people. Hindi nga ito yung executive, hindi ito yung secretaries. After that, it goes to the cabinet. And the cabinet endorses that to the president. And then it becomes the National Expenditure Program. Dumadaan ng Kongreso, dumadaan ng Senado, nagkakaroon ng sagutan ang legislatura at eksekutiba. After the approval of that GAA, kung saan nakasaad doon yung 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my understanding, Madam Chair, is the chronology is followed. So kung ang presidente ngayon ay isa-isa yang titingnan, that will set for a precedence by us giving the signal that the president is supposed to be the technical financial determinant of all of these factors. In other words, Madam Chair, mali yung sumobra masyado yung unprogrammed appropriations, if indeed that is true. However, I find it unfair to blame it on the president because we, as members of Congress, should also have taken a proactive stand in policing, in asking the cabinet secretaries, and this is precisely the reason, Madam Chair, I'm just looking out of the balcony. May I request my distinguished colleagues that we should activate the oversight committees in Congress so that whatever request on a program appropriations that the cabinet secretaries are putting forward should also be vetted, especially the impact and the prioritization. Kasi yung pasunod-sunod na numero nun galing sa proponent, nasa budget, at ina-approve, andun na lang sa pinakahuli, what the president usually does is synonymous to a ministerial duty, allowing the technical people and the executive people on the ground to apply what has been approved by many aspects in our government. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Speaker, Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Diaz-Guerin. The Honorable Tino is recognized.
Kailangan ko lang pong tumugon kasi mukhang meron pong basic na misunderstanding ang kagalang-galang na Deputy Speaker Garin sa aligasyon dito sa ikalawang bahagi. No? Kasi parang ang intindi niya na ang abuso ng discretion ng Pangulo ay naganap during budget preparation, yung paghahanda ng NEP. Pero hindi po. Ang tinutukoy po natin dito ay abuso ng discretion ng Pangulo during budget execution, sa paggastos na po ng budget, hindi na po sa preparasyon. No? Kaya hindi po natin kine-question dito to raise or to also engage with the point earlier raised by several other representatives. Hindi po natin kine-question dito yung Act of Congress na nag-approve ng unprogrammed appropriations. Ang kine-question po natin yung pagpapatupad ng Pangulo. At ang dinidiin po natin, ayon sa batas, sole and exclusive ang kapangyarihan ng Pangulo dito. Bakit po ganun ang batas? Bakit binibigay sa Pangulo ang sole discretion to authorize the use of unprogrammed appropriations dahil lump sum po siya. Inaprubahan ng Kongreso ang unprogrammed appropriations na meron lamang general purposes pero walang line item na magtutukoy kung ano-anong mga proyekto ang nasa ilalim ng mga purposes nito. Lump sum po yun. No? Kaya nga po, tinakda talaga sa admin code na kailangan, kung gagastusin ng unprogrammed fund na lump sum, kailangan may direct authorization ng Pangulo. Dahil sa mata ng batas, siya na ang final check and balance dito. Kaya may responsibilidad siya na tiyakin na yung paggagamitan ng unprogrammed appropriations ay matino at totoong proyekto na magsisilbi talaga sa interes ng mamamayan at hindi lamang ghost, hindi lamang kung ano-anong proyekto na pagkikitaan lamang. At yun po ang sinasabi nating abuso ng discretion. Kaya nga, inugnay po natin ang pagpahintulot niya, ang failure niya to exercise proper discretion, kaya naipakita na rin na yung marami sa mga tumanggap ng proyekto na pinondohan ng unprogrammed appropriations ay ngayon may kaso sa ombudsman, mga contractors na katulad ng SunWest at Silverwolves, among others. Yun po. So, Madam Chair, mukhang hindi yata naiintindihan ng ilan kung ano yung aligasyon dito sa
With all
complaint.
due respect
Madam
to
Chair.
Diaz-Guerin and the Honorable Tino, we have provided both parties ample opportunity to ventilate their respective arguments and views. we will be terminating your discussions on this point, and we will be moving to the next speaker.
Madam Chair, can I have a last recap to review?
If I allow you for the last recap, D.S. Garin, will Honorable Tino request again for another recap?
It depends. Madam Chair.
With the indulgence of both parties, we are terminating the discussion of your contrary views on this point.
Madam Chair, just a very quick 1-minute manifestation. Just for the record.
The Deputy Speaker is recognized.
Yeah. Madam Chair, just to manifest, hindi po totoong hindi ko naiintindihan ang budget process. Yes, it's a lump sum allocation, but there is an accompanying list enumerating the prioritization and the numbering of the programs. Ang listahan ng mga proyekto, because this has to be corrected, because people listening might think that it's another pork barrel. While it's considered a lump sum, kaakibat doon ang listahan ng mga proyekto na dapat pondohan. And what I am saying, Madam Chair, we cannot set a precedence that will put our government in a jeopardy dahil wala nang gagalaw kung sinasabi natin ang presidente ang dapat maghimay, tumingin at tingnan ang technical at pinansyal na aspeto ng bawat proyekto. In summary, Madam Chair, yes, the authorization is mandated by law to come from the President. But that signature comes only at a point where the Cabinet, the DBM, Senate, and Congress has finished all the vetting process. And he approves based on the knowledge that it is needed, it is the priority, and he does that commensurate to the chronological listing submitted and attached to the General Appropriations Act. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
That is the last. Would you
Madam
like
Chair.
to make your last recap?
Madam Chair.
In the interest
I will
of
not
due process.
reply to that, Madam Chair.
So there ends your discussion. Let's move to the next speaker. The Honorable Eming Pascual is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, ito hindi lang para sa atin, sa committee ito o sa kongresong ito, para na din sa maintindihan ng buong Pilipinas. Ng sambayan ng Pilipinong nanonood sa atin ngayon. Tama po, na tinatalakay at pinag-aaralan nating mabuti ang mga issues sa impeachment complaint na ito. Pero dapat din po na ang ating pag-aaral ay dahil sa ebidensya at hindi dapat batay sa spekulasyon o opinyon lamang ng kahit na sinong tao. Matapos ko pong basahin at pag-aralan ang mga nakasaad, ang mga basihan ng impeachment complaint ay naalaman ko na sa kabuuan ay wala pong matibay na ebidensya dito. Puro hearsay at sariling opinyon lamang. Ayun ang naging basihan ng impeachment complaint sa sinasabing partisipasyon sa kickback ng ating Pangulo ay wala po kong makitang matibay na ebidensya. Puro hearsay lang po ang opinyon at reklamo dito. Sa sinasabing issue sa katiwalian ng Pangulo ukol sa hindi pagbito sa program appropriation na nakalista sa national budget ay wala din po kung makitang sapat na ebidensya na magpapatunay na may nasabing katiwalian dito. Tama po ang sinabi kanina ni Congressman Joel Chua. Meron pong constitutional discretion ang lahat ng executive. Kung dapat siya magbito o hindi, sino-sino po ba ang mga executive? Yan po ang Pangulo ng Pilipinas, ang gobernador, ang mayor, maging ang kapitan ng barangay. Ako bilang dating mayor sa aming lungsod, hindi po ako nagbibito. Depende po sa amin. Tama din na sinabi ni Congressman Joel Chua kanina, magbuhat noong 1989 pagkatapos ng EDSA Revolution, naging tradisyon na po ito, ang unprogrammed appropriations na ito. Eh di dapat po marami ng presidenteng natanggal. Kanina, ang sabi ni Congressman Egay Erice, kung pipigilan ng committee ito ang pag-usad ng investigasyon, ano ang magiging imahe ng Kamara? Meron daw po tayong pinagtatakpan dito Para sa akin, hindi po. Hindi tayo papangit ang imahe sa Pilipinas sapagkat ang kumiting ito dapat po tumingin tayo sa tibay ng ebidensya. Hindi sa tibay ng video o ng mga news clippings. Halimbawa po, para sa kalaman ng mga tao sa Pilipinas, ang dating Congressman Saldico, ginamit na ebidensya para sa impeachment complaint. Nasaan siya? Yung video clippings niya, na hindi naman niya sinumpaan dito, hindi yung authenticate na siya talaga yung nagsasalita na yon, paano po natin tatanggapin dito? Para sa akin, yung second offense po, ng unprogrammed appropriations, napakalinaw po para sa akin, insufficient in substance. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Ngayon, kayo bilang Pilipino, ano ang masasabi nyo at reaksyon sa balitang ito? Mag-iwan kayo ng komento sa ibaba at atin niyang babasahin isa-isa.